Not a human, not afraid. I will not comply. I will not obey. See, the plan is to depopulate, but the body can overcome anything. Fuck what the doctor say. Fans shaking me like Bobby, wake up. Chip on my shoulder, I was holding a grudge. I wanted to be loved more than I wanted to love, but hey, what can I say? Fame's a hell of a drug. Born a slave to a tyrant. It's gonna take more than just petitions and riots. Are we headed for a future of being indebted to credit? Hoping the next leader elected will trump the one we beheaded? The words the wealthiest rappers will never utter. Them checks they throw at a nigga's a motherfucker. Seems like the future was brighter when I was younger. Seems like the future was brighter when I was younger. I'm torn between performing and rewriting the norm. Am I born to transform or just to die and move on? Be the light that people mourn while reciting all my songs. To the battle I am sworn, sword, dog, armor worn, beaten down to the point for being different. You question old tradition, they just say you superstitious. Like a snake that eats its own tail. The economic system, public schools the babysitter. Healthcare's the modern day Adolf Hitler. Fact check. Ever since the internet, molestation multiplied by 1,000,000%. Your aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews all online with the shit. History shows for speaking up, my whole life is at risk. Yeah, I'm cocky, kamikaze, who gon' stop me? Anunnaki, Illuminati, neo-Nazis, they do me how they do Cosby. When you winning, they gon' love you till you lose like Ronda Rousey. Every revolutionary, they execute them proudly. It go JFK, no. MLK, no. Since Lenin got smoke, it's clear they don't want us to have hope. They tore down our houses, replaced it with dope, and say that it's our fault. Fuck. So you wanted to fight, so you wanna be brave, so you found the light and you seen the truth and you feel betrayed. Well, it comes with cost, a price too large, as if we're really just born to die. I'd rather not have been born. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being on TV looks pretty cool, I said. That's true, I said. Must I remind myself? These corporations ain't your friends, you should have signed yourself. They, who are they? They are us, we are they. The pyramids start at the top, we just mimic and behave the same way. Babylon brainwaves, human incarcerations, the modern day slave trade. Cost of college, cost of living, so high you can't maintain. All you can do is sell pills, drink tea, and waste train. Struggle to make mortgage and re-up by payday. And the wealthiest families split it up 8 ways. Okay. So you wanna be brave, so you found the light and you seen the truth and you feel betrayed. Well, it comes with cost, cause if we're really just born to die, I'd rather not have been born at all.
And welcome back to another fine episode of the Block is Hot podcast. Shout out to all those out there on their way to work. Shout out to all those studying, just trying to pass the time, maybe waiting for a class, maybe trying to catch a train. Or maybe you're, at a desk job, just trying to kill off about maybe an hour of your day by listening to my sweet, sensual voice. And that is tooting my own horn. But again, it is your boy, Famous Amos, a.k.a. Mr. Unidentified, a.k.a. Billy Bordeaux, a.k.a. Soul Brother Number 3, a.k.a. Pinky, a.k.a. Your Mother's Last Mistake, a.k.a. He Went That Way. And last but not least, Mr. a.k.a. Never Wears the Same Socks Twice. That's a lie, but I just came up with that one on the top of my head, and you know what? Fuck it. I'll be known as the guy that only wears one pair of socks and then wipes his ass with it, calls it a day. Peace. This is going to be what I'm going to be calling now, referring to as a Rantcast. Not quite the average podcast where we actually get into deep subject matter. There's going to be no guests with us on this episode. I actually do have a very special guest that's going to be joining us later on. I may record an episode on Sunday and just release it early or wait to release it. But I made contact with an old friend of mine. Not even an old friend, just I haven't talked to him in about a year. Currently, he's been going through some things. Spiritual, you could say, maybe conspiracy-minded. But just he really has been going through trials and tribulations, and he started to uncover things within himself, within life, that I think it would be really nice for our listeners to hear. It's not all, super woke type shit, but he may be one of the people out there that may have decoded this world in a way that not most look at it. Now, if you're into gematria, if you're into numbers, if you're into the occult, if you're into hidden knowledge and knowledge that's hidden in plain sight, you're really going to enjoy the conversation. He came over on Sunday and basically blew me and my roommate's minds for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And the whole time I was thinking, like, damn. This would have been great for the listeners, for the people out there that like to hear this type of shit, for those that like to have those types of conversations. Speaking of which, I do want to give a special shout out to all the listeners out there that routinely listen and engage in the conversation. I want to give a special shout out to our guest that we had last week that was on. He was actually a listener, Jason Causey. Great dude. And Jason, I will say, is going to be back on the podcast. We are going to be going way more in depth. He actually introduced me to a podcast episode that I think is going to spark a lot of discussion within maybe the UFO community, or whatever you're calling them now, but that community. It was a very interesting podcast. The podcast that he had me check out was... Oh, crap. It was... Space breaking news about the Tic Tac, hidden truth. My phone's not allowing me to pull it up and also have this nice sensual lo-fi hip-hop in the background, and I don't want to just start playing other people's content like that and fuck up the flow. But it was a really intriguing podcast, and basically the guy was disclosing that the crafts of the Tic Tac and these things that we saw are essentially our crafts, and that we have a pissing match between the Navy and the Air Force, and that's why you've been seeing pushes to release patents of these new crafts that are out there before it's too late. Now, in my opinion of that situation, let me get some water. No beer for the podcast this day. Yeah, going a little dry. The thing that kind of brings in the question of the possibility of them allowing this man to disclose potentially our new aircrafts, and basically saying that our, and I could see it, Army guys are like bros, basically, and the Navy and the Air Force, they have a competition between one another because they both have aircrafts, but of course, the Air Force is pilot based, then you have the guys in the water, and those are kind of two avenues on their own, and then you have the Marines and the Army, and they do their shit, and they're like, all right, whatever, dog. And I think that's funny that if they were literally having a pissing match, and they're just like, yo, we're going to take out our craft where they know they have no missiles, and we're just going to fuck with them, and we're going to start flying in these crazy patterns, because it's got to be compartmentalized. Compartmentalized. Oh my God, I can't say that word right now. Compartmentalized. Because, not everyone's going to know what's going on. It's only going to be a select, small percentage of people, the engineers working on the craft, the actual people testing the craft, those people that are actually on the ground working that detail in that area. Only a certain people are going to have that security clearance to get to that craft. So, these other guys in these other departments of the military, they're just out there like, oh shit, we're seeing this crazy shit. It must be a UFO. They are real. Meanwhile, you have other guys that know, like, nah, that's actually our shit. We're just fucking with them. And that would be the convenient story that I would like to believe. I would genuinely like to believe that it is just some type of like competition within our military branches, but I think that would be way too much of a convenient story to have brought up. Now, when it comes to this whole UFO sighting thing, I kind of hold the opinion that everyone wants to know, but nobody really knows. And when I say that, I mean, imagine this. And I can only, again, I'm going to be taking it back to maybe a younger day. It was like when you were the first person to find out a fatality move in Mortal Kombat when you were a kid, or any type of like special code in the game before it was available in some type of book or some type of public knowledge. You held on to that knowledge, but still exposed that you knew, but you wouldn't tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I'm going to do Scorpion's finishing move where I take off my mask and flame throw your ass, with the skull, but no one else knows how to figure out that combo, but I happen to figure it out. And now every time I play Mortal Kombat, I'm fucking niggas up and I'm just owning them with fatality every time. People are like, bro, like, how are you doing that? It's like, I don't know. I guess, and I get it. I was one of those kids, and then eventually, I start sharing my knowledge. But I could definitely imagine our military, potentially either creating that, creating some new shit. Everyone else is like, whoa, what is it? And then everyone's like, I can't tell you what it is. I'm not gonna disclose that information. But I will tell you is that it's ours, and we're the one out there, flying around and shit. So I just think that's an interesting way of having the disclosure. However, it does lead us back into the Bob Lazar interviews that have been going around. He had that one with Joe Rogan, and then he had some other, spots. It seemed like he was doing a bit of a press run for that little documentary that they released on Netflix. This would it would corroborate what he said without the government actually admitting that everything that Bob Lazar said was correct. What if some time ago they were able to reverse engineer that project that was going on back when Bob Lazar first disclosed those secret test flights going on in the desert? Quite some time has passed, and it wouldn't be far-fetched for the military, if they were getting close maybe back then, that they potentially are successful, and they are now, they're doing some crazy flights. Now, for all we know, they aren't. It's not available to go super far distance. Maybe it's not ready for space travel, but it's definitely the next capability of earthly travel. Which, I mean, if we want to be real, we know how I feel about space. Though I still want to have the romantic idea that we can soar above the galaxies into the vastness and find an alien race. I'm still more likely to believe that, this is a flat plane that was intelligent. It was intelligently designed for us, and our purpose is to achieve some type of enlightenment, if you want to say, or to have a good positive vibration that your body and your soul, your spirit, your being is giving off, so that when you die, that positive vibration maybe resonates throughout. But if you have a negative vibration, it gets distorted and just nothing. I don't know. Who knows? Those are just the interesting questions that, I like to think about. Because, there's a sighting that is only talked about in really the flat earth community, it seems like. And it's the the 1561 celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg, Germany. And it's essentially, you know, what happened was that like a bunch of spacecraft were flying over a city, kind of like having a battle. Like, you know, like cylinder looking crafts and orbs, which could have been light. It could be some different type of lunar modules. But basically, to the point where people were painting, people were talking about it. Like, this was written in their newspapers. Like, so 1561, you know, that's pretty fucking crazy. It was a mass sighting of celestial phenomenon and unidentified flying objects, you know? So what if those were the gods? What if those were the demons? I don't know. All I'm saying is that how come we don't have these conversations? You know? It's a very, very common thing. UFO disclosure with Tom DeLonge to the Stars Academy. That's some crazy shit. Oh, I'm scrolling through my list right now, and I just remembered, I know it's still early in the podcast, and I hate to go on a Debbie Downer, but we got to be aware, and we got to talk about these things. I know this, you know, I wasn't able to probably talk about this last week. I believe it happened, last Wednesday, or Tuesday, or Thursday, actually Thursday. So there was a shooting at Santa Clarita. So, I mean, Saga's high school, killing, I believe, 4 people. It's a tragedy. It's very, very bad. Very, very fucked up. But then, just that following week, there was another shooting that took place. And this one, you know, it didn't get a lot of play, so to say. This one took place in Fresno. And it actually happened to a YouTuber. And it was a very senseless murder that took place. 10 people were shot, 4 of them fatally. Family members gathered to watch football on Sunday night, says the Fresno Police Department. 3 who were killed at the scene. The 4th died later in the hospital. So, damn. It was basically just like a regular neighborhood, and it was from the Hamon community. I'm probably butchering that and saying that incorrectly, but it's HMONG. One of them was killed was Xy Lee, XY Lee, Lee. He had some good songs in YouTube. I mean, granted, I couldn't understand because it's in a different language, but you can hear beautiful music and know what it is. All right. And apparently there are 30 people at the home, including children, and then 16 dudes bust in and just start letting off shots. So I don't know if this was some type of hit. It seems like it just seems kind of uncalled for, but I'm just letting all y'all out there listen. Protect your families. Stay vigilant. If you can legally purchase a firearm, I would suggest that you go out and you get one. Also, get yourself and your family some body armor. This is some common sense now. If you're going out, get a backpack that has the laptop sleeve. Buy a $100 slit, throw it in there. It's not always about, you know, the idea of being afraid. It's passive protection that, to be honest, is needed. We fought in 2 world wars with firearms. Think about it. The war that we went into with World War I was a drastic game changer. Those people had no idea what they were going up against when they started firing rifles at each other like that of a higher caliber, as well as the adoption of, more semi-automatic rifles with a faster reload time. Most of these men were going in with bright colored, red pants, blue jackets, like the old school days, which were making them basically walking targets. So once we started to upgrade once firearms became a normal part of daily life. And once people started wearing them on the hips, you know, cowboys, all these things, it should have come into everyone's mind that, hey, guns aren't going anywhere, and if you're not going to carry one, you should at least be able to protect yourself from a projectile. Granted, headshot, you know, anyone can get caught. But what I'm saying is, you know, there's ways to be able to protect yourself when you're out in places that seem like they may be not so safe. And the backpack insert thing is one. And that's basically it. I mean, unless you want to go full thin vest, or if you wanted to do the whole bulletproof jacket thing, be my guest. But it's the idea now that when we're in these public spaces, that people just feel like the idea of someone coming in and shooting shit up, it's strange. And I think that we've gotten too comfortable now, because this is a growing thing, and it seems to be getting worse, but we as a people have not been, I feel like we haven't been taking the appropriate actions as a society to really have the conversation about what potential threats are, as far as when it happens, what do we need to do, you know? Maybe I don't have the answers, because I know I don't. But that story just really fucked with me. The idea of, you know, you're just hanging out at the crib watching football, and then some dudes just run up in your spot and just murder or attempt to murder your whole family. Like, not even on some, like, I mean, unless it was some gang shit, then hey, I don't know. You know, I ain't a part of that life, so if you got to do what you got to do because someone did something to their people, then you know what? That's a part of the life. It's a part of the game. But I thought, you know, there was some rules to that shit at least, you know? You don't go after the women and children, but if it was just a hit, like, yo, fuck this guy, fuck these people, like on some like racist ass shit, then that's even worse. But first we had a high school shooting, then we had that random massacre shooting. Then I think there's another chick that was out there in Atlanta, like a 16-year-old white girl was about to go to Atlanta. She's from Texas, and she was going to go to Atlanta, I think, to shoot up a church. It's fucking nuts. I don't know. Yeah. That shit is fucking crazy. Yeah. White teen aimed to attack black church. And you know what? While we're at it, I'm not a real big fan of too much of the political stuff, but as I'm browsing through Reddit news and just seeing like what kind of people are talking about, and just scrolling through Google news pages, and I'm just seeing these things pop up, it really makes you think, like, it just really makes you think that, like, America is probably on the super decline, like the fall of Rome status. Like, real chop, think about it. Like, we had our time of paradise and fun under the sun and a good time. And I think, you know, regardless of people, because people always want to try to put the race thing into it. But let's think about the actual economy of the country. Like, the people, like, regardless of the race side, you know, black people always say they never had it good. Asians will say they didn't have it good. Mexicans, everyone will say they didn't have it good. But our overall country and its mass and its ideal compared to the other sides of the world, that's something that can't be taken for granted. When America was prosperous, the dollar was high, shit was popping. It was lit. We were all having a good old time. Now, seems like the dollar's deflating, jobs fucking out the window. A lot of people are talking about how they have to move out of their places that they like to live, or they're getting kicked out by rent. No one wants to fucking be here. It just really seems like right now, at this time, like we're in the fall. Like we really haven't been looking too good on the world stage with our president lately, and everyone's fighting, everyone's protesting, everyone's fucking seems to be up each other's asses with their own bullshit. And it seems like we can't even get together on holidays anymore. I can guarantee, before we reach Thanksgiving, you're gonna be seeing a story about someone bitching about something, about how fucking racist this shit is, or about how racist it's not, about everything else besides the message of what it means today. We can admit that the history is fucked, but why do you celebrate it today? Are you genuinely celebrating it today for our ancestors, like the founders, or the people that came over and like fucked over the Indians? Let's think about that. Come on. Like, are you really thinking about, oh yeah, let's get this turkey and let's get together and, you know, let's recreate the Indians and how we were gonna steal their land from underneath them through bad trade deals? Like, really? Like, that's not what we celebrate Thanksgiving for anymore. The whole holiday has been transformed, just like Christmas. The pagan holiday Christmas. It's been, you know, we don't celebrate for the same reason as we used to. You either celebrate it for two reasons. You celebrate it now for the birth of Jesus, or you celebrate Santa Claus. Though, you know, a jolly old man who spreads love, joy through giving gifts to those who behave themselves throughout the year. Something simple, you know? And then you got Hanukkah. It's another Hanukkah. I mean, you get more presents per day, I mean, seems like, but the same, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Hanukkah. If you got any listeners out there that would want to come on the podcast and break down how it was growing up as a Hanukkah kid and like being in school and just kind of like going through that process, I'd love to hear your story. Speaking of which, that just reminds me. If any of you are listening out there and would like to come on the show and talk some shit, and not talk some shit like literally just start talking shit to me, reach out. We will be doing some video and actually not video, but we're doing some voice chats either through like, you know, Skype, Google, and have you on the podcast as a guest. If you have a mic setup, that's even doper. But if you just have, you know, a basic USB mic, we can go ahead and have a dope conversation. If you have a little headphone, earpods kind of suck. And that's what I've noticed. Even if you like sync it up to your computer with the Bluetooth, wired headphones are better. So yeah, reach out to us and we can have you on the podcast. Remember, the block is hot. It's supposed to be a block. It's supposed to be a community. We want people to be able to engage with their ideas. You don't have to come on for the full episode of the podcast. Just, you know, 30 minutes. Say what's up. Your opinions on things. You know, some of your favorite conspiracies and topics and why, you know, you should, or why we, the world, all of us should be kind of taking it more serious, or even just investigating it more and like why it's not discussed. Maybe it's being suppressed, you know? We got to hear everyone on the block. Damn, my throat. Ah, shit. I have no idea why that's happening. Maybe I'm having an allergic reaction. That would suck. Because as far as I know, I have no allergies. So, oh yeah, back to the ranting. There's something that caught my eye today while scrolling through the Reddits. U.S. State Department official quits amid inflated CV claims. And this is an idea where you can literally fake it till you make it in this. Okay? Basically, Mina Chang has been accused by the U.S. media of claiming that she has a degree from the University of Hawaii, creating a fake Time magazine cover with her face on it in order to, and also created a fake position at the United Nations in order to obtain a position within the fucking U.S. State Department. So, and if you look at her, it would only work because she's hot. Literally. Like, when I'm looking at this fucking Time cover and I'm just looking at this whole situation, it just goes to show you that it does not matter what type of credentials that you honestly have, as long as you can do the position well and bullshit your way through it. Now, I'm not talking about being a fucking a doctor, okay? Or being a fucking lawyer or something that, like, no, like, you can't bullshit your way through being an electrician, all right? You'll fucking kill yourself or kill someone. I'm talking about positions that just have to have you be in that position. Like, a shift leader? You can bullshit your way through a shift leader, just creating some shifts, you know? Now, it's gonna be fucked, like, when you're writing it all out and you have to actually, like, take in, but I mean, you can fuck up, fail, and whatever. Like, you'll get second chances. But this is kind of crazy that, like, no one back-checked this chick. Everyone just thought that Mina Chang was legit. But nah. And this is all allegedly. Because, again, she backed out, but she's only been accused. She hasn't been proven that any of this is false yet. And, you know, I'm just going based off of the story that I'm reading. But the fact that she actually, you know, resigned, like, it just lets you know that, like, she knows she got caught, and she was just like, fuck it. You know, I got this far. I collected a little bit of a bag. Now, if she leverages her moves right, she'll probably write a book about how she gamed the system and how she fucking ended up going so far off of a few lies and some Photoshop. It's fucking nuts. But that's not too bad. Our government's not that bad. You know whose government is going to be on the next platform stage? Or who's already on it and kind of just like fucking up? China. Yep. And now this video has become demonetized or shadow banned, whatever the fuck they want to say to make it so no one can see this video or hear this podcast. Motherfucking, there's been a video of Hong Kong protesters being loaded onto a fucking train, like on some straight up like some fucking concentration camp type shit. And the crazy thing is, we're just watching it all happen. We're gonna watch another Tiananmen Square happen, like on TV. Not saying that they're gonna be dead on TV, but like we're gonna see people get round up, like, and we're seeing it now. Like, the internet is the new TV. I'm watching the internet on my TV, and by checking this shit out, it's like that old saying, you know, when the Holocaust was happening in the World War II, when they were rounding up Jews. Everybody thought that it wasn't a big deal because it wasn't in their town, it wasn't happening to them. But this system right now, China owned a lot of shit. And we really don't know what they got. What I will say is they got a lot of people, and a lot of people that are loyal. You know, Hong Kong is just a small part of that big ass fucking network. So just imagine that idea of potentially like all China and their allies become the enemies of the world. Shit ain't gonna be sweet, man. It is not gonna be sweet. What's gonna be crazy though is people aren't gonna care. I heard I've been hearing a lot of these new loan companies coming up and trying to buy people's debt and reconsolidate and all this shit. And I'm thinking, who's starting and backing these companies? And I'm already thinking, it's probably Chinese investors, so that they have a bigger fingerprint on the nation and its people. They own your debt and they have the gold. It's maybe a crazy thought, but it's a thought to have. Think about who has the gold. We do not know what's inside of our Federal Reserves. Do you know where the gold's at? Ask yourself, when is the last time we've seen a picture of the gold? It's supposed to be, actually, no. I forgot the whole Federal Reserve, the whole fucking banker thing, and we don't own our gold anymore, and like the dollar is fucking, it's not a reserve note for gold. But imagine if everyone in the nation was just like, show us the vaults. I bet them bitches would be like empty or super low. We would not have the amounts that we should have. Oh my gosh, I hope I'm not getting sick. It'd be tragic if something were to happen and just not see the world talk about it. Like, this is something that should be discussed everywhere. Like, I'm reading this off of the Taiwan news. I'm not seeing this from fucking CNN or Fox or MSNBC, any of the major news outlets. And Disney Plus fans have been hacked. Yeah. So you can take that in your crack pipe and smoke it. I can't believe that actually happened so quick. Like, it hasn't even been out for a full week. Apparently thousands of accounts were hacked and are now available on the dark net. And yeah, I was gonna create an account, but I had a feeling there was probably gonna have issues at launch, just because I know a lot of people are Disney fans and they want that shit. But yeah, now I'm really glad, because a bunch of people got locked out of their accounts, so they're probably going to like cancel their credit cards and debit cards and all that. And I'm just curious on like how many people are gonna get probably caught up buying those fake accounts and shit. There's probably people all in the dark net, so they're probably not gonna get caught. Which kind of has me thinking on the backside. How many people actually know about the dark web and actually know how to use it properly and stay secure? Because if you're not protecting yourself in the back end, it's just like using a regular internet browser. That's something that I would want to warn anyone who wants to go out there on the dark web and think you can just like get illegal shit, drugs, accounts. Don't do it. I would strongly recommend that you don't do it. But, like I said, this isn't going to be a full-length podcast. It's just a little bit of a ranty rant. I'm going to be coming back, probably doubling up this week with another podcast, with another special guest. We're going to have some comics come on. Tim really has been branching out into the comedy scene within the area, and he's been meeting up with a lot of local comics, and just kind of want to give them some shout out, give them some praise, kind of let them know what they're doing, how their journey's been, and kind of, what they're doing in their pathway of becoming a comedian. You never know. Some of these guys that are coming on the podcast may end up being the next Eddie Murphy, the next Kevin Hart, the next Dave Chappelle, the next Joey Diaz, Joe Rogan, those kind of guys. So that's going to be a fun few weeks. We got to think about 3 guests going to come on. Want to space it out. Not everyone's into conspiracies, so it's going to be good to see what their opinions are. Do they think we're just crazy? Or, are these things that potentially could be real? We don't know. But it's always fun to talk about. Well, that was some good dead air. been listening to a lot of some new music, and I think that's where we're gonna leave this one out. Simple. Been fucking with this guy Kuko. Has an album called Para Mi. That's just really dope. Probably gonna play that as one of our farewell ending song tracks for the day. But I'm just looking through my feed, kind of seeing if I had anything else that I wanted to discuss. I have some topics here, but I don't want to bring the same topics in twice for another week. And I'm just trying to look like it's like even the Epstein shit I want to talk about with my boy Justin, and kind of bring it up with Tim as well, because Tim's really interested in that. And some of the stuff we can't do. So just want to let you guys also know, some of our loyal listeners, we may be moving the podcast time slot from Tuesdays and recording on Mondays or Sundays. Probably record Sunday night or Monday night to release it on a Tuesday. Get that out to you guys a little bit earlier, only because it just seems like with Tim trying to hit all these comedy clubs and open mics, he can't swing through with enough time. And it's funny because he's the one that actually recommended that we do this on a Tuesday, because of Mondays were bad for him. And also he realized that I was going to watch Monday Night Football, which is also correct. So we're going to see how that goes and see how that floats around. But again, as a simple rant from a simple fellow, I just want to let all you guys know that we appreciate you. Shout out to the tinfoil hat guys that tune in. We really appreciate you. Sam Tripoli's great. We appreciate all the guys that intercourse, that discourse on our Discord, and that provide some good content on Twitter and dish out some information via Instagram. Again, don't be afraid to reach out via Instagram or Twitter. Reach out. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your opinion is. Remember, anything that's typed out via Twitter or Instagram, do not read it in a negative light or a sarcastic light. Always read it in a tone of what if and an actual genuine question. I do feel like that sometimes when I reply, some people may interpret it as I'm trying to talk shit or be a dick. But no, I'm genuinely trying to have that conversation. I just understand that people can kind of they can misread. They may read that because they're getting caught up in the moment, instead of just saying, oh, no, I'm just replying back to you. I'm not trying to attack you or, own you or get you in a gotcha moment. I'm just trying to, genuinely ask or even, equate the situation. Because that's also the big, false equivalencies that a lot of people try to throw out there for certain cases. And always remember that, every situation is different. So even though I understand that you're acknowledging that, this is a similar situation, it's not the same situation. So we can only take in, certain situations to a certain degree. You can't just say, oh, because it happened here, that means that this is the same situation, case closed. No, we got to dive deep. We got to comb through it a little bit more. So yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out. And if you would like to definitely come onto the show and just kind of spit some shit, let your opinions be known, become an official blockhead, member of the block, then yeah, it's going to be a good time. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and leave y'all with some good music to jam out to. I'm going to go ahead and cut this little Rantcast short. And I will see you probably in a few more days, maybe 4, once I go ahead and lock it in with my homie Justin and record some dope shit. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. The shit that he says, sometimes you're just going to, it's going to be, basically all I'm going to say is bring a pen, bring some paper. He'll have all that shit ready for you. He'll tell you where to go to look it up, how to compare it. I may even try to get some information up before and do even a video for this one, because I know he has a lot of content. He has books, actual physical books, and it's crazy, man. So with that said, I'm your host, Famous Amos, aka Mr. Unidentified, aka your mother's last mistake, aka Soul Brother number 3, aka Pinky, aka He Went That Way, aka Billy Bordeaux, aka just an unidentified black male. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with some jams. Always remember, a society doesn't have to be uniform in order to be united. Always be open to discussion, and never go ahead and shut someone down. If they're dumb, let their dumb opinion be known. If they're smart, open up your heart and allow some new information to absorb into your mind, maybe make you a better person. That's all we got. Every day must be mastered, and treat every day as if it's your last. Don't let your last actions in life be something terrible or shitty. I'm your host, and you just tuned in to the Block is Hot podcast, aka a Rantcast. Enjoy.
For the full final saca la bolsita. This fool cuco's on a sick one. Rate this vato's flow 1 through 69. This fool was last seen at the Marisco's truck with Little Robs. I heard this fool sold broken windows to put out his first album. But the real question remains, where is this fool going? Where is this fool going?
Fool's gone wild.
Smoking broken windows.
Alright, bro.
I've been tripping off the tabs in my room. I don't know why, baby, but I'm feeling blue. Taking another tab and now into the shrooms. No, don't hit my line, baby girl, like who are you? I've been tripping off the tabs in my room. I don't know why, baby, but I'm feeling blue. To the shrooms. No, don't hit my line, baby girl, like who are you? Oh no, don't hate, just get up out my way. I've been getting high like every single day, and I need some peace of mind. I don't know where to find all the answers to my questions. I'm not satisfied where my mind resides. Hell is bound to find me, and if I find the light, that shit is gonna blind me. I've been off it like a prophet, ain't no telling why. Lately, can you for the fact that I just lost my mind? I've been tripping off the tabs in my room. I don't know why, baby, but I'm feeling blue. Take another tab and now into the shrooms. No, don't hit my line, baby girl, like who are you? I've been tripping off the tabs in my room. I don't know why, baby, but I'm feeling blue. Take another tab and now into the shrooms. No, don't hit my line, baby girl, like who are you? Find me. I'm feeling lost, I just need someone to guide me. Don't wanna feel left out, please understand me now. But if you can't, then it's alright, I'll always be around. Smoking broken windows, play my Nintendo. If you fuck with me, then I pull out my extendo. Smoking broken windows, 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 play my Nintendo. If you fuck with me, then I pull out my extendo. Smoking broken windows, smoking broken windows, smoking broken windows, smoking broken windows. I've been tripping off the tabs in my room. I don't know why, baby, but I'm feeling blue. Take another tab and now into the shrooms. No, don't hit my line, baby girl, like who are you? I've been tripping off the tabs in my room. I don't know why, baby, but I'm feeling blue. Take another tab and now into the shrooms. No, don't hit my line, baby girl, like who are you? Smoking broken windows, play my Nintendo. If you fuck with me, then I pull out my extendo. Smoking broken windows, 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 play my Nintendo. If you fuck with me, then I pull out my extendo. Smoking broken windows, smoking broken windows, smoking broken windows, smoking broken windows. I've been tripping off the tabs in my room.